I never imagined that the woman who called me son-in-law would one day hand me divorce papers with a smug smile, but that's exactly what happened. My mother-in-law, Margaret, had always been difficult, controlling, and impossible to please, but I had tolerated it for the sake of my marriage to her daughter, Lisa. The moment she slid those papers across the kitchen table, smirking as if she had won some kind of personal victory, I felt my world tilt. Lisa had been distant, influenced by her mother's opinions, and although the marriage had its ups and downs, I wasn't expecting this betrayal. I could have reacted with anger, yelling, or a heated confrontation, but instead, I took a deep breath and vowed to turn the situation around. I would get my revenge, not in a petty, childish way, but in a way that would be unforgettable, something that would demonstrate that I wasn't someone to be manipulated or disrespected. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. The annual Army Ball, a prestigious event I had been attending as part of my service. It was a night of tradition, formal attire, and high-ranking officers, as well as an audience that included some of the most influential people in our community. Margaret, of course, would be present, fully expecting to flaunt her triumph and perhaps embarrass me further in front of friends and family. I spent the weeks leading up to the ball planning, strategizing, and carefully considering every detail. I didn't want chaos or childish vindictiveness. I wanted elegance, timing, and impact. I had learned from her that subtlety could be more effective than force, and patience often carried the loudest message. On the night of the ball, I arrived in a perfectly tailored uniform, my posture straight, my expression calm but confident. Margaret's eyes immediately searched the room, probably expecting to see me defeated, nervous, or ashamed, but instead, she found a man composed, proud, and undeniably in control. I smiled politely as I passed her, making brief conversation with Lisa and other family members, all the while knowing that every move was being scrutinized. The tension between us was palpable, and I could feel the shift beginning even before the first dance. Margaret had always underestimated me, assumed my passivity would allow her to dominate social situations and family dynamics. That night, I intended to show her exactly how wrong she had been. The moment of impact came during the formal announcements. As the Master of Ceremonies began introducing attendees, I was called to the stage for recognition of a recent achievement in my unit, an honor I had earned through hard work and dedication. Margaret's smirk faltered as the audience applauded enthusiastically, celebrating my accomplishments and integrity. I didn't gloat, I didn't taunt, I let the applause and attention speak for me. Her prideful assumption that she could diminish me publicly had been completely reversed. Every eye in the room was on me, witnessing a man who had endured manipulation and disrespect, yet emerged not only unscathed but victorious. After the formalities, during the reception, I made sure to engage socially with key guests, demonstrating poise, charm, and leadership. Margaret tried subtly to reassert control, attempting to involve Lisa in conversations that would belittle or undermine me, but I remained composed, responding gracefully and ensuring that my presence could not be overshadowed. By the time dessert was served, it was clear to everyone, including Margaret, that the narrative she had attempted to craft about me as weak, defeated, or dominated was false. I had turned her expectations upside down without saying a single vindictive word, relying solely on presence, confidence, and earned respect. The real kicker came when Lisa, realizing the magnitude of what her mother had done and how I had handled it, quietly expressed admiration and gratitude. She had been caught in her mother's manipulations for too long, but seeing me maintain dignity under pressure changed her perspective. Margaret, on the other hand, remained outwardly composed, though her eyes betrayed frustration and disbelief. She had planned humiliation, but the outcome was the opposite: respect, recognition, and subtle triumph. The Army Ball, with its grandeur, audience, and formal atmosphere, became the stage for my revenge. Not loud, not destructive, but undeniable and lasting. By the end of the evening, I understood something critical. Revenge doesn't need to be overt or vindictive to be effective. It can be quiet, calculated, and dignified, and when executed with patience, it carries a message far more powerful than anger ever could. Margaret had given me divorce papers thinking she had power, but the Army Ball demonstrated that true power comes from self-respect, composure, and the ability to rise above manipulation. I had been handed an attempt at humiliation, but I had transformed it into an evening of personal victory, earning admiration, recognition, and a quiet sense of triumph that would resonate far beyond that night. When I left the ball, I didn't feel anger, I didn't feel the desire for retaliation. I felt pride in my actions, pride in the way I had handled adversity, and pride in the fact that I had refused to be defined by someone else's attempt to control my narrative. Margaret's smirk would be remembered, but it was overshadowed by the quiet dignity I had displayed, a reminder that integrity and poise can turn betrayal into triumph, and that sometimes the best revenge is simply being stronger than the person who tried to hurt you.